Your circle isn't a problem. Your expectations of your circle are. You're looking for encouragement in places that were never built for it. And that's why it's frustrating. Yes, my people. Thank you for joining me again, man. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're existing, then you already know, man. I appreciate the support. Today I want to touch on your circle of friends, and that we need to be able to differentiate between friendships and associations, because I think we get it confused sometimes. Associates and friends. For me, they're there for you when times are hard. Do you know what I mean? They're there for you when you really need them. I know who my real friends are. You know, coming from a place that I've come from, there were only a handful of people that were actually there for me. And I know many people, but now I can differentiate the friends from the associates. And that clarity, sometimes you need it, because you do feel like, because you've been around people for a number of years, you actually feel like they're your friends. But I'm telling you, going to prison and coming out, you realize, wow, I got a lot of associates, because these people can't be my friends. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but go and grab my free 7-day reset ebook. The link is in the bio. Now let's get back to this. And there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. And I don't hold anything against those people. But it is good to have some clarity. You know what I mean? And even within your friendship circle, not all of your friends show up the same. And it doesn't mean that they're not your friends. Do you know what I'm saying? For example, you got friends who encourage your growth. You know, it's the ones that you'll share your life with. And then you got ones that you have laughs and jokes with, but you won't share as much with them. They both impact your life in different ways, but they're still your friends. Some of my friends I can sit down, and some of my friends I speak to on a daily basis or every other day about what I'm doing, and they throw ideas at me and whatnot. And there's other friends that I've mentioned what I'm doing, and it's just kind of gone over their head. But in other areas of my life, if I need them in other areas of my life, they'll be there at the drop of a hat. So, you know what I mean? Like, friends play different roles in your life. And I think those are the ones that are there for you at the drop of a hat, and you know that they would be. Those are your friends. Those are the ones that come looking for you when they haven't heard from you. Those are the ones that check in on you when they ain't heard from you. The associates don't check in on you. Those are just the good time friends. You know, when a few of your boys are linking up and you've got somewhere to go in a little event, you see them, well, what's happening? That's associations. Those ain't friendships, because you ain't seen that or spoke to that person for 6 months. They even reached out. Do you know what I'm saying? Associates. Your friend, you cannot go 6 months, 3 months without checking in on them. That is not a friendship, man. No way. Maybe a 2, 3, 4 weeks, because you know, life. But months, you ain't checked in on your friend? Or someone ain't checked in on you? Not a friendship. Definitely not a friendship. I wouldn't have classed that as a friendship. You know? Yeah, man, you clock these things. That not everybody in your circle is there for the same reason, because the circle can be quite wide, because you've got your friendship circle, and then just beyond that, you've got an association circle. And those associates, they're still your friends, but they're not your day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month friends. You associate with them differently. So don't expect the same energy from your friends and your associates. Be very clear on the two. Trust me. Because you may feel that you're in a position one day and, wow, how come I ain't heard from so-and-so and so-and-so? Because they're not your friends. They're just your associates. They're just there for good times. That's it. I've learned that. Don't expect everybody to play the same role within your life. As you get older, it will be down to your discretion as to whether they're friends or they're associates. Because you will feel let down if you think that everybody's your friend and they're not. Save yourself that heartache, man, and differentiate the two. I've been fortunate with my friend circle, but I now know the difference between the friend and the associate. Your circle will influence your direction. They will influence the decisions that you make. And for your sake, I just pray that those people are positive people, because you need to be influenced in a positive direction. We do have negative friends. It's unfortunate, but we do have negative friends. But you know where to keep them. Sometimes I think those ones I think personally you need to put those negative ones in the association pile, in the association circle, just on the outside of your friendship circle. Because you don't really need no negative ones. I mean, that one could be difficult because they could be negative, but you've known them a long time. Or they may not have been negative the whole time, and all of a sudden now they've got this negative streak. I mean, you just got to be, it's down to your discretion where you put them. But you see all that negative stuff, I put them in the association circle. I don't need that negativity, man. I've learned a lot in relation to energy of late, And it's a word that was thrown around a lot years and years ago by a certain somebody, but I never really took heed, honestly, of the word energy until now. And yeah, energy is very important. The energy that you have around you is very important. And I'm starting to understand where they're coming from now. You know what I'm saying? I really am. People don't always need to be cut off though. Like I said, those negative friends that you have, you don't always need to cut people off completely, but you do need to separate them. You do need to know where to put them and what to go to them for. You might have had a negative day. So rather than phoning your positive friend, you phone a little negative one that's your little negative associate and have a little rant to them. Because you know that they'll be more inclined to hear and listen and probably give you some negative feedback back. Something that you might need at the time. You got to know where to put your friends, man. Honestly. And you don't need to knock heads with friends every day. That's one thing that's important. Just because you don't speak to them daily, it doesn't mean that you automatically put them in the association pile. Like I said, depending on how long you go without speaking to that person, they can still be your friend. I think if you don't speak to somebody for months, then I don't think they're your friend. I think that's association circle. If you're not checking in, you know what I mean, then that's association circle. But yeah, like I said, that is definitely down to one's discretion. You know what I mean? Definitely down to one's discretion. Just make sure that with the friends, with the ones that you do call friends, make sure that there's growth. Make sure that there's growth. Make sure that you're growing together. And they're not just around you for the sake of being around you. But yeah, man, that's my take on friendships, man. Be intentional and let's decipher who is actually a friend and who is actually just in your association circle. Because you don't want to be let down because you think that they're your friends and they're not. They're just your associates. But yeah, guys, that's my take on it. Get in the comments, let me know what you think. I'll catch you on the next one. It's just a paper boy.